Step 7 continued, finishing the edges. At this stage, I have my facade with all the windows cut out. You may be quite happy with the result that you have, and in that case, you can skip this step completely and move on to building the actual house. I'm going to show you in this video how to neaten up the edges here so that they look a little bit more like that window. For that, you will need scalpel or knife, the skewer from your pack, the brush from your pack, a bowl of water, and an old bit of material such as a shade. This is for reviving the clay in case it gets too dry. You mightn't need it, or you could use the material that's covering your breadboard. Firstly, have a look at the edges here. You can go over them with the knife to put in a little bevel. Here I'm just smoothing it with the edge of the knife. Gently turn it over. Get the little shavings out of the way. Do the same thing on the other side. You can skip this bit if it doesn't matter to you what it looks like on the other side. This is the side where the candle is. You might be tempted at this stage to pick up the facade. If you do so, make sure you handle it very gently. Try to have it so that it's supported by your entire hand as you work on it. Make sure that it's not so wet that it's bending. If this bends, it can form a stress fracture there. That can later on result in it breaking in half. Now I'm going to use the brush. Just make sure that it is dry and wipe away the burrs. Now dip your brush in the water. You don't want it very wet, so if it's got a lot of water on it, just blot it on the material and run it up and down on the inside of the window. Turn it over very gently. If you want to do more, you can use the skewer. Just make sure that it is clean. Dampen it in the water. And now you might need to pick this up. Very gently run the skewer straight up and down along the window frames. This is good because it makes a straight line. and use the brush. Make sure at this stage that you're not dripping water on the facade. You don't want to have some bits that are dry and others that are wet. This causes stress in the clay. And there. I'm pretty happy with that. It's always a temptation to fiddle a little bit. Now, I would continue to finish the other windows. If at any point the clay starts looking white, particularly around the edges, if it starts looking very white, you might like to revive it a little bit. It does dry quite quickly because it's quite a fine, thin piece of clay, and if you have cut out quite a bit, then these bits will dry very, very fast. So also it picks up the heat from your hand, which dries it. If you want to revive it, get a bit of material, dip it in the water, and squeeze it out really well. Make sure that it's not dripping. It's got to be just a little bit damp. Now my hand is wet, so I'm going to dry it on the tea towel. Move the facade out of the way. Spread out the bit of material and very gently place your facade on that and wrap it up. Leave it for about 5 minutes, just enough for a cup of tea, and it should be revived again enough for you to keep working on it. This step is quite good just before we go to join on the floor and the supports. Again, you don't need to do this unless your clay is drying out too much. It might well be that you work much faster than me and you'll be able to continue to have this leather hard until the joining stage, which is the next video. Thank you.